because that was hot. I mean, something has gotten hot pretty good down the line. We'll see. And that looks pretty good. Nothing's catching my pointer here. So we're gonna call it good. I'm not too worried about that. So I'm gonna set that aside for now because we're gonna take it the rest of the way apart. Now this is always fun because there's a right and a wrong way, and you got to remember which way goes to the right side, because these right here, they're air passages that go up inside the cylinder, and if you look, they're directional. And what that's to do is it pushes the air away from the exhaust and fills the cylinder out, pushing the air that's in the cylinder that was just ignited out the exhaust. And so they're directional, so you got to watch which way those things go. But we're going to tear it apart, and we're going to hope we put it back together right. So here again, death grip and push. Now to get these off, see how blue that is? These bearings have been hot. I'm a little worried about, at this point, I'm a little worried about this, that there is zero movement top to bottom. We don't care about this little bit here. That's normal. You'll get that on brand spanking new bearings. What you got to worry about is this way. If it moves this way any at all, this is toast. So there is no movement in that whatsoever. None. There is no movement in that whatsoever. So I would not worry about that too much. Now, two things. If you can slide it off like that, that's bad. See how toasty them bearings are? This is why I pull them apart before I try to sell them. Because if I sold this saw without taking these apart and replaced these bearings and these seals, they would have been bringing it back to me wanting their money back, because it wouldn't have been very long before this thing just shot the craps. It would have broken all this up. The bearings, pieces of that would have went up inside the cylinder through the air journals, and they both come off just like that. I mean, some of them come off fairly easy, but that's very, very poor. But luckily this is all brass right there. That's a brass sleeve, so there's no damage to this whatsoever. There's no scoring, there's no pit, there's nothing. So I'm very happy about that. So this, I'm still going to use this. These are trash. Pretty cool little seals, but just means you don't have to push the seal on and the bearings, because a lot of them, the seals are only like that wide right there. So maybe like that wide. So this is a nice seal here. You don't have to use any Moto Seal over the top of it or anything like that. But those are going to be trashed. So we're going to attempt to get this off. Seems to be stuck on there pretty good, but we're going to try to get it off anyway. Woo! I don't want to break it. You might leave that on there. We'll just take this off. Now these are a little different from any of the other bolts you're going to find on this thing, because these have shoulders on them. See, they got little shoulders on there to go inside those holes to make everything lined up. So they're hard to mess up. This one will do the same thing. Sometimes they got little metal cups around them. So they use a regular screw, but they use a little metal cup. You'll see that a lot on steels. I kind of like the way the Husqvarna does theirs, because you don't have to mess with that metal, that little metal thing. So that just comes off. And then there's this piece right here, and this is the spring mechanism for your clutch brake. Pretty handy little thing. It's a lot less complicated than you have in the Steels. Yeah, these wear out faster, maybe. I don't know. I don't think so, because I've seen a lot of old saws with that kind of thing on there, and they work just fine for a lot of years. So there's that. Now we're going to throw that in the box and get ready to do it. I'm going to go make up a solution so that I can start cleaning all this stuff up. As I was taking this case apart, I happened to notice that it looked burnt. Well, burnt's one thing. It really doesn't make that big of a difference, because there's still enough integrity there to, you can clean that up and everything works just fine. There's no bolts, nothing like that. It's still really solid. But what I found when I looked in here, and you can't really see it in there. Let me see if I can shed some light on this where you can see it. But you can see it melted it all the way into, let me see if I can get you in there where you can see it. No, because your light's going to be in there. Let's see. Okay. If I turn you a little bit and angle you down in there, maybe. Yeah, get over the lens. But at any rate, take my word for it. There's a place that has been burnt on the inside of the oil tank. So I started scraping. Now when you buy saws, you don't really see this. Well, somebody... Oh boy, that hurt. I just jammed that thing right down my thumb. That thumb's been getting... But anyhow, somebody took and put fiberglass in it. Fiberglass resin. They didn't tell me this when they sold it to me. Oh boy, that hurt. You see that? Ooh, gotta watch that. That hurts. Had they told me that they did this, or that it had been done, I wouldn't have paid so much for it. See that? Look at that. Look at that. That's terrible, YouTube. That's terrible. Why do people not tell you stuff like that? I bought several saws from this same person. Look at that. And more than likely, it happened, and he doesn't even remember it. But it's hard to tell him. I don't know. I'm not going to judge him. I just know I wouldn't have paid him near this much for it. Look at this. This case is unsellable. I can't, in good conscience, sell this case to anyone. So what might happen eventually is I might build this saw to keep around the house, just to do some limbing or something like that. It's a nice little saw. But why would they do that? Why wouldn't they let you know that something like that happened? All that was an exhaust leak. Why wouldn't they have fixed the exhaust leak? But that's the way things go sometimes. I just thought I'd show you that. And just say, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Well, in this case, I didn't lose. I still got parts I can sell out of the saw. So I should be able to get my money back out of it anyway. I'm okay with that. So I can maybe sell the fuel tank for half the cost of what I paid for the saw. A few other little knickknacks here and there on it. So we'll see. But the case is dead for selling. So I'm not even going to bother cleaning it up. If I do anything with it, I'll clean it up and I'll build and go that route. So have a good one. Well, I just got through taking the other 350 I was telling you that I had, taking it apart, and luckily everything's good on it, so I will be able to make one saw out of the two. But you know how I was telling you that one was really dirty? Well, I started cleaning this one. I thought, well, I'll put it on here so that you could see what some of these saws look like that I've been cleaning up. And if you thought that last one was bad, wait till you see this one. This is the dirt that I've gotten out of it so far, and this is what it looks like. Let me get this back in the frame here. So this is what it looks like. And I've already cleaned the bottom side of it a little bit, and there's the front side of it, and I've cleaned a little bit of that, not much, but yeah, it's pretty bad. If you can hear that sound out there, that sound is a 372 XP that's about to die because it's loading up or running out of gas, because I've been having it run for like the last 4 hours trying to run it out of gas, but getting the seals and rings broke in. So I will be back with you momentarily. This stuff is hard, very hard. I'll run it through my sonic cleaner, but I've got to get most of this off. But I got to get most of it off of there. It just takes forever to clean it. So, which I don't mind doing a little bit of it. Kind of lets me get my hands on it. See what everything looks like on it real close up. I'm not pushing hard enough to really scratch anything, so plus I've rounded off my tips real good so I don't scratch anything while I'm doing this. But yeah, this stuff is really, really hard. And don't worry, I won't make you all watch it all. I just want to show you a little bit about how bad these things get if you don't take care of them. Clean your saws, people. Clean your saws. You clean them, you keep them clean, and they'll last for decades. You let them get like this, and you punish them like this, because they're air-cooled engines. When they're dirty, and believe me, the cylinder and everything look just like this. When they're dirty, they get hot. When they get hot, they go bad. They go bad in multiple ways. Plus, when they're dirty like this and you don't clean this stuff off with the rubber, it makes the rubber parts get crispy. And then they go bad. And that usually means you'll burn a seal, which will make the motor go bad. So, for the sake of a 15-minute cleaning, and if you go by today's prices, it's about a $500 saw. Yeah, this one's about a $350 to $400 saw, but it's still a lot of money to waste just because you don't clean your saw. Now, if you don't care and you got plenty of money to spend, I guess that's entirely up to you, and it's your saw. You can do with it as you want. But the more you do something like this, the more people like me buy them from you really, really cheap and put a lot of time and effort into it and a lot of money to get them cleaned up. Or you throw them in the trash and they go to a landfill. That choice is up to you. But if you got anything to throw away like this, or you want to make a little bit of money off of it, send it my way. I'll be more than happy to make it work. Keep it out of the landfill. Because I love to see things like this come back to life. I really do. It's kind of a throwaway society anymore. And I just would rather see everything working. Somebody with a saw in their hand. Usually it's fun. It is for me. Some people, they think it's just work. It's just more work that they have to do. Me, this is kind of like my recreation. I love working on stuff. I'm a mechanic by trade. Mechanic and heavy equipment operator. Done a lot of things in my life. But that's what I enjoy the most. So as long as I can, I'll be doing stuff like this. And hopefully, someone can learn from what I'm doing. Or if not, that's entirely up to you. I just thought I'd show a little bit of something. See if anybody gets anything out of it. I hope somebody does. I hope somebody really enjoys it, or at least gets enough out of it to be able to fix their own saw, or just tell me to go fly a kite. I don't care. It's entirely up to y'all. But yeah, this is dirty. This isn't the dirtiest one I've done, because the same fella that I bought this one from, oh, probably a couple months before I bought this one, I bought 3 others from him. And I got those working. Got them up for sale now. Well, my battery died on my GoPro, so I don't know where we was at. I'll look at it later whenever I go to edit. But like I said, I hope somebody gets something off of it, out of what I'm doing. If not, I'm still happy that I got it out there, got information out there that somebody might be able to use if they need to down the line. Most everything I'm going to say and do goes towards any kind of saw, any kind of small engine really, especially any kind of 2-cycle, because they're all pretty much the same. They use different components, but they're all the same. The theories behind everything is the same. The carburetors all work exactly the same. Carburetors work the same on a 2-cycle as they do on a 4-cycle. The only difference is the way the float works, which there is no float in a 2-cycle carburetor. That's why you can turn them upside down. It uses what they call an impulse line to pump fuel. And it uses little diaphragms as check valves as the pump, more or less. so it sucks up the gas. Whereas on a 4-cylinder carburetor, it's generally from just gravity fed. That's why the gas tanks are always on top on a 4-cylinder engine, because it just flows down into it. Well, then you've got a little seat that lets the gas flow up to the usable part of the carburetor, which in a 2-cycle, if you take the cap off of it and you look, that little needle just opens up and it goes into a cavity and then flows down into the venturi of the carburetor through the suction of the engine. Whenever the piston goes up and down, it creates a suction through the carburetor or the intake, and that's what pulls the gas into the piston area. Now there's a big difference on the pistons and stuff like that on between a 2-stroke and a 4-cylinder. They're similar, but not quite.